Oh no.
Fucking liquid black fuck! I'm about to crash the fuck out! Ah! Get out of my face!
Have you ever had a Krispy Kreme? Was it crispy? Right.
Why should you date me? Because I am the opposite of your mother. I'm fun. I'm crazy, I'm wild, and we're gonna have fun together. Let's go partying!
What's up, turkey tits? Welcome to a special episode of the BDC show. Why is it special? Because I'm back where I grew up. I'm in the 915, the EPT, the house that BDC built. It's been almost 20 years since I have been back, and let me tell you, it hasn't changed a bit. Actually, that's not true. The biggest thing that I noticed was that they built a full-sized baseball stadium right in the middle of downtown. They also cleaned a lot of it up. I remember when you'd be driving toward downtown and there were factories along the interstate. Now it's all surreal art installations and neon lights. I was so distracted by all of that, I forgot to look to see if the star is still up on the mountain. Yeah. The footage you are seeing is me entering the city for the first time during the day, but I ended up coming back through at night. Long story short, I ended up arriving in Deming to make my delivery, and once I got there, it was revealed that the factory I was delivering to was closed for the weekend. Then I had to turn around and take the trailer to a company drop yard in El Paso. So I'm back. I also worked my 70-hour clock down to where they had no choice but to let me do my 34-hour reset here. But before all of that, I was driving through thinking that it was too bad I couldn't drive through the Northeast, like a returning conquering hero. But as I got closer to downtown, I started seeing signs that I-10 was closed to through traffic and was being diverted to Highway 54, better known as the Patriot Freeway. It was named after the missile system that won the First Gulf War. Air Defense Artillery for the win. I don't know what they're doing now, but Fort Bliss was known for air defense artillery, and we were shooting down Scud missiles left and right, making Saddam Hussein look like a one-pump chump on the world stage. That was kind of our claim to fame for the longest time. It was a trip driving through El Paso after all these years. It was different, but still familiar. It was mostly little things, really. Things that you wouldn't understand unless you grew up here like I did. It was almost like a dream. I couldn't remember why I wanted to leave here so badly. I mean, I felt like my partying and drinking had gotten to a point where I felt that I'd pushed my luck as far as I could. Maybe even all the way out to the edge. There was nothing left to do back then but to pack your shit up and run. Run all the way to the West Coast. I'm not going to romanticize it. I'd be dead or in prison if I had stayed. Sooner or later I would have gotten behind the wheel blackout drunk and either killed myself or someone else with that recklessness. I believe that 100%. At the time, leaving was the best thing for me. I was a little bummed that I wouldn't be able to see downtown. But with traffic being diverted to 54, that meant I'd be able to see the northeast. What's more, I would likely be detoured over Trans Mountain Road. I remember when I was a kid and they built that. They literally blew a hole in the mountain using explosives and built a road over it. Back then, that was where 54 ended. North Hills and all those neighborhoods north of Sun Valley Drive didn't exist. It was all just desert. Now it goes all the way out to the New Mexico border. So I guess I was sort of full of shit at the beginning of this episode where I said it hasn't changed a bit. They finally finished Loop 375. It was called a loop long before it was an actual loop. It was a partial loop. Now it circles the entire city, just like they'd always intended. So I started to get over so I could take the exit to 54, super excited about the idea of visiting the old neighborhood. Coming all the way from Pennsylvania and ending up here was surreal to me. Taking the Woodrow Bean Trans Mountain exit. Life is a trip. Sometimes you wander all over hell and creation only to end up back where you started. There are probably still people in this area that want to stomp my guts out for my past transgressions. Well, all of you can get in line, bitches. So this whole trip turned out to be one big nostalgia tour. Like I said, I'm sure there are people out there who still have bounties out of my ass. So I didn't lurk for too long in any one place, and I kept my head on a swivel when I was parked at stoplights. Never get lazy. This is Dyer Street, where it meets at 54, the Devil's Triangle they used to call it. Right next to that Whataburger is a supermarket. It used to be called Furs, but who knows what it is called now. I used to work there back in late 1997 before I lost my mind and went apeshit. Sure enough, they had all the diverted traffic get off on the Trans Mountain exit, and much to my surprise, there is not one but two Circle Ks on opposite corners. One of them used to be a Diamond Shamrock back in the day. But I guess Circle K wanted to show them who was boss. So for the first time in almost 20 years, I found myself ascending Trans Mountain Road. Only this time, I was about 75,000 pounds, 9 feet wide and 14 feet tall. So despite the fact that I had been up and down this road before, never quite like this. Incredible. Then it was on to Deming, which was an experience unto itself. There was a border patrol checkpoint where they asked for my credentials and they handed me a card and asked me to read the phrases printed on it. A legit English exam. Can you believe that? Before handing me the card, they had asked me if I spoke English, and I told them that I did, and in fact it was the only language I spoke fluently. I admitted to knowing a little Spanish, but just pedestrian Spanish, nowhere near fluent. But they handed me the card anyway. So I get to Deming, and when I pulled up to the guard shack, they told me that the plant was closed until Monday. So I had to turn around and drive back to El Paso and drop the trailer at a drop yard. From there, I met up with my brother and his fiancée in addition to my mother. I hadn't seen them in nearly 20 years, and since my time was so low, I had no choice but to start my 34-hour reset. It all worked out perfectly. We went to Great American Steakhouse and watched the Cowboys beat the shit out of the New York Jets. Not to mention all of us getting down on some awesome steaks. Yeah, it's El Paso, but it's still Texas. And when in Rome, you come to Texas and come to a steakhouse, you eat a steak. That's just the rules, man. If you don't know, you need to ask somebody. The whole weekend ended up being surreal. Like, how did I find myself hanging out with my family all day? Life is so weird. You find yourself wishing that you could see the old neighborhood and traffic just happens to be diverted that way. That can't be an accident, a coincidence. That is the universe conspiring in your favor. But it was an awesome experience. It was good to see those guys after all this time, especially seeing my younger brother doing so well for himself. Hard work does pay off, and he is proof of that. Good for him. I am proud. So Great American turned out to be a lunch, and he took all of us to a place called Small Sliders way out on the east side. Having had White Castle when I was living in Indiana, it was a natural comparison. If Smalls opened up in an area with White Castle, they could give them a run for their money. Personally, I would say that Smalls was better than White Castle in every way, shape, and form, and that's real. Then they took me back to my truck at the truck stop, and we all took some photos, which took a few attempts due to people blinking or whatever. I am going to share those photos with you here now, and I will apologize in advance if anyone gets upset about it. Don't worry, no one watches this shit. In fact, I lost a subscriber. We went from 30 to 29, and no one really told me why. I'll probably never know. Subscribers come and go, but family is forever. This was the best 34-hour reset I have had thus far in my trucking career, and it's not even close. I'm forever thankful for the hospitality of my brother, who made this weekend one to remember.
Even if you're a landlubber, you're going to love eating seafood kebab style. Choose from a steak and shrimp platter, a platter of large deep-fried shrimp, a plate of baked trout, a plate of baked red snapper, or a catfish platter with famous kebab's batter or cornmeal breading for only $3.99. All of this delectable seafood comes with potatoes and a freshly baked roll. For the best doggone seafood west of the Gulf Coast, you can't beat kebabs, serving up big catches at little prices 7 days a week at all 3 locations.
Hi, I'm Woodsy Owl. In order to try and stop pollution, we need more help. So, help Woodsy spread the word. Come on, never be a dirty bird. No matter where you go, you can let some people know to give a hoot, don't pollute. Never be a dirty bird. In the city or in the woods, help keep America looking good.
Alright, shit lips, we're back from that quick commercial break, and I just realized that we showed the New Mexico state flag in the intro to this episode. When I made that intro, I figured I was going to spend my 34-hour reset in Deming, and I never thought I'd spend it in El Paso. So I went ahead and remade the title card with the Texas state flag, and I will use that as the thumbnail. I can't go back and redo the intro, so the New Mexico flag will have to stay. We are still here at the Petro on Horizon Boulevard, living in the parking lot like a full-on vagabond. It's fine. They have a hot deli and clean bathrooms, so I have no complaints. Actually, yeah, I do. I went inside the travel center this morning, lugging a basket of laundry and my Tide Pods, only to find out that the credit card system didn't work for any of the washing machines. I couldn't even scan my phone using Apple Pay. I needed quarters like some kind of caveman. The change machine was broken, a claw machine was broken, and so was the pool table in the lounge. They all had out-of-order signs taped to them. So I go up to the counter, and the lady behind the register was as worthless as the Pope's balls. She said she didn't have quarters. What kind of Mickey Mouse operation are they running here? If you look on a map, you'll see that there is a Love's right across the street from this ghetto-ass Petro. I knew I should have parked over there. Love's never misses. There's always parking at a Petro, and this sort of shit is the reason why. You have to trade off the abundant parking for amenities that don't work. But I will say that they had an awesome hot deli. I got a couple beef chimichangas and a mound of macaroni and cheese. It completely hit the spot, and they had Big Red available as a fountain drink. Fucking mint. It was almost enough to make me forget that the laundry service is total horseshit. Dispatch called me and told me about the pre-plan for when this reset is over, and it looks like I'm heading back up to the Fort Worth area. So I get to do that I-10 to I-20 run again, this time in the opposite direction. Again, fucking mint. The reason I hate that route is because my parents divorced when I was little, and in the summertime when I'd go and stay with my dad, he would drive from Indiana and we'd drive to Dallas because that was the halfway point. I've made that trip so many times it's ridiculous. Wait, take a look at that grub and tell me you wouldn't get down on that. Not a vegetable in sight. But anyway, yeah, we would meet in Dallas because that was the halfway point. And my mom would drop me off and my dad would pick me up and take me to Indiana. Look at the size of that dude's legs. Holy pitying edema, Batman. As a former healthcare professional, they are gonna start cutting his toes off and then probably a below-the-knee amputation. Those veins and arteries in his legs are literally fighting for their lives. So I ended up having to take a shit and get some more cigarettes before my reset ended. So I went back inside. This is the Petro. I don't know if you can see all the out-of-order signs on everything, but trust me, bro, they are there. I'll never pick a Petro over a Love's again. Truth be told, I would pick a Love's over any other truck stop. They are number one and number one by a lot. Second place would probably be Pilot. They are just as good as Love's. But I feel like Love's has better deals on the things I buy regularly. White Monster energy drinks and hot food. Road Ranger is third place, but honestly I have only been inside there once or twice. Probably because I had to shit real bad and there was no other choice. But those few times I encountered rude staff who looked at me funny when I went in there. Fuck that place. Petro/TA would be fourth place. I would actually rank TA higher by itself, but they are owned by the same corporation, so they could be judged together. I've spent the last few minutes explaining why Petro sucks. That one in downtown Oklahoma City immediately springs to mind. I don't know if I ever told this story, but one time I was at the one in Oklahoma City, and it was only one of two places where I was propositioned by a lot lizard. She looked like a walking chemistry set. I could almost smell the pox coming off of her. The only other place that happened to me was West Memphis, and that place has a reputation. Ask any trucker. And in fifth place, I'll lump all the independent truck stops in together. They are a total crapshoot. Nice people, but they usually aren't stocked very well. And getting back to that lot lizard thing real quick, just in case you were wondering, no, I did not accept the proposition. I didn't live this long just to catch some bullshit from some tweaker selling dad ass in a truck stop parking lot. Plus, I'm in my post-divorce era. Companionship is overrated. I just want to be left alone. Well, as you can see here, we got about 2.5 hours before we are back on the road again like your boy Willie Nelson. So we say goodbye to El Paso, but we will be back. Trust me.